Testing. Testing. Microphone check. Hello. All right. Well, as the stream title might suggest, we're going to be looking at Africa today. Let me just get my screen all positioned. That's working. Now the areas of Africa that we normally work start in East Senegal. We make our way down Ivory Coast. Usually borders. I had to turn borders on, sorry about that. So we have here that's Mali. We're not going to be looking at Mali today. It's Senegal here. And just about all of Burkina Faso, but also these two states down here that are narrow, called Togo and Benin. These two states have fire reported as well. Now for country Nigeria right here of 230 million people, last I saw were fires up here in the northwest of Nigeria, but far from, it's not, no one's in any severe danger. But it is an industrialized country, over 230 million people. Starting to have fires like Cameroon right here as well. Has had several fires that have been long lasting, and it's just brush fire after brush fire. So now that is where we'll just pick on a little bit, because to understand the flow of all this fire, the way the winds spread and just splay all across the lands, broken up by billions of different trees, rocks, cliffs, rock faces, everything. But here, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Central African Republic. Might as well look at the Democratic Republic of the Congo as well. Is more just the northern side of, so I'll just draw a circle here. Not Kenya. So it's not going to be a circle, I lied. It seems to be an area of on the ground what's going on in Ethiopia and Tigray, these conflicts and this war. Don't want to comment on may or may not be the result of conflicts, where the consequences are out wildland fires burning, either by shelling, bullets, like what is shelling in general of different sizes, right? Either the shelling of artillery or the shelling of machine gun. Either way, its military use is different. And burn a lot of hot ammo into the ground, it's going to start a fire that isn't easily put out. I'm not saying that's the cause of any of these fires that we're going to be looking into tonight, but with the way things are, I shouldn't comment on fires in general. What we do here is we observe the fires and try to see its path. What we don't do is get involved politically or have takes in the local regions of where we're looking at wildfires and all over the world: Australia, Latin America, West Africa to Central Africa. They're very sensitive topics, and there's a lot of political strife in these countries that we're looking at. But we're trying to keep focused on civilian safety, civilian protection, and just information on a civilian level that other people might find helpful. To see the people in these countries that are caught up in conflicts and war and bloodshed, people who didn't vote for war, be exiled, or become political prisoners. But we're still going to look at these countries, and we'll start with Senegal. I thought it was a dark area, so I zoomed in on it, and it is a pretty large fire. You see around all this black and dark area is previous brush fires. Increase this up a little bit. And boom. Big fire right in the middle. Several kilometers. And we see the active fire perimeter burning here. Let's take a look, see if we smoke. Yep, we can see the smoke here. Pretty blackened, far more than previous burn areas around here, which were just pretty patchy, splotchy. But this is a more intense burn. You can see this whole area here. As you can see, Senegal's had a lot of problems with fire within the last few weeks, but it's been really catching up. Catching up on the countryside. In just a few short days, they're seeing fires that are looking like this. They're not very large compared to some of the fires we normally see, but they meet up with areas that have already been burned. You have these fresh, just scorched earth that just cooled off to the point that you can start seeing it fade on the satellite. But then you have a fire that burns hot that just goes right back to the same area where that fuel is just recovering. Because there's still fuel there even though the fire went through it. These fires probably went through it pretty quickly, leaving just a stain. Senegal knows fire, there's plenty of smoke, and as always, anytime that there's a slope, fire cheats death. Because there's wind blowing south, and you'll have in this vortex of a river channel, wind will be blowing west. And you'll get this hook effect. It can look like a union symbol. So you're going to see a lot of fires that look like they're going to keep trying to come up a river like this, but it's the same fire. It's not another fire that keeps happening. It's burning vegetation that's low-lying. It's also driving out moisture, driving away water. That's what these fires do. That's why we keep track of them, so we can go back later and go, hey, why is this river completely dry? Because there's been a wildfire burning just right next to it for 3 weeks, and it's only getting worse. Little reasons like that, like microclimate catastrophes. A segment of a river becomes toxic or has a bloom. But mostly is that you're heating up this water. It's definitely one of the last symptoms I hear about when it comes to wildfires, but heat boils water. And this in an ensuing firestorm where you have everything dry because of smoke, because if it acts as a pestilence, drives away moisture that's in the plant itself, making it burn even easier. In the air, the ambient temperature can be over 700 degrees Fahrenheit in some of these firestorms. The water underground boils, heats up so much that the ambient temperature above that water table is going to be roughly around the same. It is broiling the land. You have a wildfire burning so hot so long that you can't even see where the rivers were when you're looking at this moisture index. These rivers are seeing a lot of really nasty fires lately. As we can see, we just go right down this makes things toxic, releases a lot of carbon. And it can hit a lot of different structures that are man-made that will also pollute along this side. Let's say that every quarter mile it looks like there's a new fire. This is massive. This is all going to be burned here, because this fire is going to come back. Burn here. Now I know I said Central Africa wildfires, but just happened to zoom in on Senegal on a really dark plot, which ended up being a pretty significant wildfire, scorched earth. Unlike the other fires that have burned around it, as they go off and then that's it. This looks like it's raging a little bit. Plus it has a lot of previously burned fuel. Nothing thrives under smoke. Everything decays. That will allow the fire to burn hotter, faster, further. Look at it. Just look at it. Dozens of kilometers, dozens of square kilometers of active outland, wildland fires. You're not seeing smoke jumpers here. A lot of conflicts. It's difficult. And just everything that I seem to get closer when it comes to these governments and how they function and operate are completely different from one another. So firefighting in Africa is a topic that I'm interested in. Like, besides wildland conflicts with man and beast, there is a lot of precious resources, a lot of different types of plants and trees that are only found in Africa, like, you have elsewhere in the world. But we don't want to lose this all before we have an idea of what it is that is out there. It is one hell of a fire here. As you can see, there's river channels all around the area where this fire continues to regenerate almost. But when you see the fire no more and just smoke, but fire's burning on a slope just yonder, and it continues to burn. You see that? Exactly what's happening here. A lot of different elements play into a fire becoming deep-seated. Doesn't want to. It can start new fires all around. It has fuel and the winds there, which it looks like the winds here because this looks wind blown. You have, think of it as like a hoodie catching. It'll always come down. You get that like tail blasted effect. There's a reason why these wildfires look this way, and it's because we're looking at these on satellite imagery. This is an active wildfire. This is the actual fire that we're looking at of this wildfire. This is not data to represent what a wildfire might look like. We have different ways of viewing it, but I find the false color, just the quick separation of the scorched earth to the healthy land, is the best indicator to just zoom in and see what's causing these fires. And of course, it's those questions we'll never really know, because we're talking about fires that are as big as most cities. These wildfires in Africa are massive. And again, wildland firefighting in Africa, it has to exist. It just seems so interesting that I would want to talk about it specifically just that, not while I'm looking at wildfires. I'll get very distracted. As we can see, all this smoke is blowing in on this city here. Cities. Seeing a lot of smoke. You can see here. These fires are burning. You just easily zoom out. Zoom right back down, just 2 clicks over. Really, once these fires start, that's it. These things are gone. There are so many fires here burning. And this is Senegal. We haven't reached Cameroon yet. I'm much further behind than I was hoping to be, but we have a lot to catch. We have a lot to get into. A lot to get into, and a lot of things to see. And one of the most pressing areas, of course, would be Burkina Faso, where it's been just ripe with wildfires. But Senegal is seeing a dramatic increase. Just northeast of Kolda, for some 80 kilometers or so, are just new active fire perimeters that are just being erected, and they burn off. They go in different directions using a multitude of slopes. All these patches here, all these patches Every single patch, every single miscolored, irregular shapen pattern is a recent wildfire burn. It doesn't mean that the fire is burned out. Fires travel. Smoke transits. Nothing moves smoke, but these wildfires, when they're burning, they're emitting a lot of gases. There's a lot of pressure. You get these spring-loaded smoke columns that are just spewing out just massive amounts of carbon and other carcinogens. It's releasing all the bad stuff in the things that they're burning, that is being burnt. Don't want to release the smoke, especially in trees and other things that have lived for a long time. You don't want to put dangerous chemicals in the air, dangerous elements in the air. But that is the world we're living in. So we can see Australia with wildfires burning anywhere near an old I digress too much, I apologize. I am just surprised by the amount of fires that we're looking at here, because these are all active perimeters here, and then here. This is burning severely, and we're talking about people. Nothing. There are millions of climate refugees in Africa. Millions. You don't hear their stories. You don't hear just the madness they have to withstand. Just the heat alone would be enough. But then you have other miseries that add along into that index. You have piracy, crime, and over the last few years, just untold amounts of children that were kidnapped at gunpoint, taken from schools. I'm not saying that these are fires a result of urban strife, but it's a lot of fires burning very near a lot of different cities, villages, settlements. There's a lot of potential for these fires to cause severe human loss. These wildfires, no telling how fast one of these things can burn and just come right up behind a town. These are realities. You have a quarter of your country experiencing some sort of wildfire in this heat wave, and it's burning, but it's burning all along all the river channels and river systems and ditches. It's not burning in open lands like you would expect. It's burning along the slopes. The hillside is burning up the slopes of the hillsides. There's no stopping it. When a fire takes hold in such a way where the potential is dangerous, because these fires can just eat away at this entire region, chip away slowly, and then have these big rapid gains that look like this. These are big rapid gains. These fires can take off so quickly. And given enough trees, canopy, having a fire up there in the bird's nest, fire accelerates, especially if it's burning across the canopy of the little trees, all the leaves and branches and stems. it moves faster because it starts gaining momentum, and there is a lot of air movement, a lot of air pressure. You have these tops of all these trees burned out. And all that fire material falls and goes somewhere. Starts out the secondary fires. Well, if one of these trees were to fall, but we can zoom in, zoom in, and zoom in. We're not going to get those level of details of one particular tree. We just know there's a lot of them. There's a lot of brush, a lot of bush, but especially you have trees that can't be found anywhere else on the planet that are at risk. These are really potent wildfires that we're looking at here. Dozens of kilometers easily, broken up between 3 or 4 different regions. And this is all just within a day. You can see over here, like, how this eclipses, and just how hot this must be burning. Over here by Bog High, Bog Howe. This is a huge river channel. What is this? Gambia River. This is the Gambia River. Senegal. A lot of fires around here. An area where you'd expect to see wildebeest, other animals that are crossing in large numbers. And then the banks of the river become more shallow up here on the Gambia River. Make sure go on the Gambia River. Go on the Gambia River. There's fires all over the place here. Tiny ones that eventually work up to be like this. They just explode in potential. Whoa. Okay, this is Ghana. What is Ivory Coast and Ghana? This is looking massive. The Zanzan region. Dozens of little spot fires. Dozens of little spot. Let's see how this fire moves here. This is lush, beautiful green. The fire start here, over here. Do that again. Huge fire developments. Absolutely massive fire developments happening. This is all West Africa. Ghana, Ivory Coast. This is going up into Burkina Faso. These fires are literally just on the border of Ghana and Burkina Faso. All the way up. You just see is a striking comparison of just how this one little fire up here, where all this burned, scorched earth, how date of these slides is up on the top right hand side. Right here. So this is the 15th, is looking beautiful. There's a little fire here on the bottom right hand side. Fire start. Fire start in this line here. Whole line moves over. Continues north. Burns across these rivers. Now, it could also be smoke. These plumes of smoke can have a lot of material in it. That could be several hundred degrees that fall, that starts fires as well. It could be a lot of that we're seeing. But this is hell. We're looking at hell right now. These areas are remote, and I don't know enough about wildland firefighting in Africa to have an opinion on it right now. I just know that this is not healthy. This is not looking okay. People are in serious trouble. You can't destroy forest in a neighborhood and not expect to have a climate catastrophe on your hands that is going to be constant. Climate's not just going to adjust. All that water, all that rain precipitation that was just constantly being drank by all those beings are no longer there. So you get these what's called burn scars that are just super slick highways for water. You're not going to have water that's penetrating into the soil. It's sealed. It's seared. So a lot of farming that use fire to seal in, to burn last crops, for whatever reasons they think they have to keep burning crops, they're killing us. It's just hundreds of miles away under the smoke of certain parts of India and Africa due to traditions of burning crops. Don't do this. You're killing your neighbors, you're killing yourselves. Nothing thrives under smoke, and smoke doesn't help anybody. Smoke doesn't, unless it's like combat smoke that's for camouflage purposes, but no, in general, it just adds more decay and pestilence around the area. There's just too many wildfires, and it's usually pretty severe. But we're just working our way up from Nigeria and the Ivory Coast, West Africa, up to Burkina Faso and Senegal. Originally had planned to go Cameroon out east. Right now, we're just seeing way too much activity. Dozens of just present wildfires that are currently burning across borders, across river systems, driving away moisture, driving away water, boiling it. Can't believe how many fires we're seeing here. Fires are very alarming. Massive. That's a firestorm raging. Massive gains. We're in Benin, Africa, West Africa, next to Togo and Nigeria. Over by Porga. Fires right down to the dirt. Rips away at the soil moisture, tears it out, boils it, drives it away. And you start seeing drought. Massive fields of drought that are already discolored due to the wildfire and the land healing. So these fires can return. Look like they're just burning around in circles, taking hold and becoming deep-seated. This is just as far south as Ghana. Whole hillside that's just completely compromised. Dozens of wildfires here by Poli. Pretty pristine wilderness, interrupted by fire. Well, any local ecology when fire is introduced is going to have severe consequences, both immediate and long term. This is Cameroon that we're looking at here. That smoke right here, down here, fire, and gnarly. The scale of what we're looking at here, from 200 kilometers, and that's just all of this ground here is completely ravaged by fire. Almost like a war zone of all these areas that look like they took some shelling. Pristine. Into the unknown. Whoa. This guy right here. Pretty massive. Very fiery, very hot.
My favorite.
It's just epidemic of fire everywhere. Everywhere. Where is there not fire? Ethiopia is also seeing a large amount of fires. This really should be our first Black Summer. This was looking like there's some real rippers out here. All the way down to the Blue Nile. Just a huge wild outdoor wildland fire that is just running its course. Let's see how big it actually. Try to see how many fires exist every day. This is going back to the 15th, so it's about half as size it is currently. These fires moving horribly south. Huge games over here alongside this river system. What river is this? This is the White Nile. To different rivers and this is the White Nile. Fire all along White Nile to the Blue Nile, Ethiopia. These are brush fires, but there are too many to not remark that this is unhealthy fire behavior. A lot of extreme fire behavior from West Africa to Central Africa. Central African Republic to Democratic Republic of Congo. Not as much as Congo or Goma, but these fires are looking just absolutely massive in this strange patterns that form as a result of winds, rains. This fire just keeps going. Crazy looking fires. Huge fires. Alright. Well, we looked at quite a bit of raging infernos, so you can put it. West Africa to Central Africa. That right now is all the time I have for tonight. I will be back and looking someplace else different that is full of fire. We went from Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, northwest Nigeria. Yeah. A shocking amount of fire. Alright, well, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the stream and my channel. I will see you again.